Hey guys, thanks for the great meeting just now and for the meeting that we had last week to go over your feedback on those initial massing studies. I'm really happy with this latest iteration of the study 5 that you like, the one that had the steeply pitched gable, not quite the A-frame, steeply pitched gable taller than 18 feet. So yes, this will trigger a planning commission review, but so be it. I think it's a very attractive design. I hope the planning department will appreciate it as much as I do, and as much as I hope you guys do. So what we're looking at here is a simplified version of what we had before. So instead of there being 6 different gable dormers for the great room, on either 3 on each side of the main ridge, we're now looking at just a simple shed dormer on both sides with 4 clear story windows high up, bringing a lot of light into the middle of the great room, at the dining area and the edge of the seating area. I really like this. I think it's pretty handsome, but we did have to lower the height a little bit to account for the taller than 15-foot interior height double count that we're going to have to do for certain areas of this great room. But I still think it's attractive. We're looking at a mix of roof slopes here of 7.5 and 12, 4.5 and 12, and 2 and 12, with a little bit of 1 and 12 thrown into the mix too. That 1 and 12 here is just to make sure that we have enough wall height to fit an attractive looking transom in without interfering with the 2 and 12 main slope here. This could be played around with a little bit. This could be flattened a little bit more too. In fact, maybe going with a flatter 1 or 1.5 and 12 roof pitch for the garage would help minimize or mitigate the penalty we're going to have for tilting towards the north on the solar panel right here. That's probably something I could continue to iterate on. Regardless, though, I'm still really happy with the overall look, and those are the main pitches that we're using, the roof pitches. Let's see here. There is the cutout at the front porch, which allows for this repeated motif of a window design without being interrupted by the roof plane. And I think this looks great as you're coming in. And you look up through this opening, you start to see the wood ceiling that's a part of the great room. And if we go through the door, and we're in the great room, and we look back, I think it's still appreciated even here as well. When you're walking towards your front door, and you look up through this opening, through this area that's still protected. The roof overhang's still coming up over here. But I think that's really, really nice. A nice special treatment there. And while we're still allowing, why do we still want this roof here? This is to help tie in with the neighborhood. Your neighborhood is predominantly these long linear eave lines. I think this is a really important line to incorporate into your home design to help mitigate the added height here. When we go above the 18 feet by about 1.5 feet, I think. Was it? No, sorry, 2.5 feet. I'm sorry. We go 2.5 feet above this 18-foot height limit. That's what's going to trigger the Planning Commission review. But I think by bringing it back so far and having this long, low roof line soften this, I think will help a lot. Plus we're, I think, offering a very special view here. This interior wall, this gray element, it's just a placeholder for now, but I do think this could be expressed very, very specially, very beautifully. But we'll play on that, I think, while the Planning Commission review is underway, rather than focusing on that element, because the planning department's not going to care of what happens on the inside. Even though it would be visible, it's really not part of their purview. They're going to be talking more about, is this massive element looming over any of your neighbors? And no, I don't think that's the case for us. As we turn the corner here, we're seeing that we've got a very limited material palette. We're really just talking about metal roofing for the entire house. It's a very clean roof. There are a lot of roof planes, but there's not. I've combined as many as I could logically and practically. I'll be happy to review that with you in more detail if you'd like. The wall palette is really, I think, just two materials. Just the shingle siding and the board and batten siding, painted black. So no more mixes of black and blue, now it's just black. Vertical board and batten siding made out of fiber cement, and a similar fiber cement, but a shingle siding, and more of a warmer tone wood look. So one of the things I tried to do is with every elevation, I wanted the elevation to be bookended by low elements like the bedroom wing or the flex room wing, these low elements in the stain grade material that has more texture to it, and you can get up closer to it, you definitely get up close to it, or you can. Whereas the elements that are far away or tall, or that I want to recede from the eye line a little bit, like the shed dormer siding or the tall wall of the great room, that is meant to be the darker black painted fiber cement material that draws more attention to these lower elements. So that's sort of the appeal happening at every elevation, being bookended, I should say, by lower elements or smaller elements of the shingle siding. So that's sort of a repeated motif that I've relied on for how I've applied the materials. So as we turn the corner here for the garage, ignore this line for now. I've said, hey, I want the doors to be centered on the wall in this flex room, and I want the doors to be looking like they're supposed to be centered on something. So let's make sure that the material change happens here, even though there's now no change. There's no change in the wall plane here. We've changed the material. Now this door appears centered from the exterior as well. And this door grouping also appears centered within these bands of fiber cement siding in this case. So one interesting thing I did here with the roof slopes is instead of sloping, these two roof planes slope 2 and 12 and create a 45-degree hip line. This roof plane, though, I didn't want to slope that back at 2 and 12 again, because the 45-degree roof plane kind of comes to a bit of a point right here, and I didn't feel that was very attractive. So I said, well, let's try the same 4.5 and 12 roof slope I'm using on the bedroom room here, and lo and behold, that lands us perfectly in line with the width of the shed dormer for those 4 windows. I'm like, oh, that's kind of fortuitous. I think that's kind of perfect. I think it looks pretty attractive to sort of be the end cap for the mudroom here. You're seeing the ADU now mocked up as well. I'm showing some idea for what fences could be like if you ever wanted to rent out the ADU, but partition more of the fence area for yourself. So, there'd be a gate here so you could get into your mudroom yard with access through this little kitty corner or chamfered cut right there to get past the corner of the great room into the backyard area. But this leaves some side area for the ADU. They would access their ADU through a gate right here perhaps, and then open right into their door. But I don't think you're going to want to have that fence built right away, so it's going to feel more open like this. So let's take a look at it like that instead. I think the ADU looks nice. We asked about in the meeting whether or not this height increase with this shed dormer was necessary. Certainly not necessary, but I do think it's a nice tie-in with what's happening at the great room for the main house. And so I'd say, yeah, let's go with it. Let's go for it. Yeah, it's 3 more windows. The cost for the windows and the installation and flashing of them. There's costs for that, but it's a nominal increase for, I think, a lot of added benefit. Without it, it's okay. You can imagine what that'd be like closed in. It's a bit too plain. I like the balance. I like seeing these 2 gables with this element in the center, and then dressing up this gable with the posts to draw the eye this way to say, yeah, this is where the entrance is for the ADU. I'm really interested to hear your thoughts on how successful you think this feels. As just a furniture element, I mean, certainly we could do some built-in benches around this tall, large, fixed window to create that indoor-outdoor feel and that really awesome inspiration image you shared. But I think starting off as furniture pieces does seem to work, in my opinion. Especially with, I changed the way the doors open. So now we'll see the door swing open this way into this furniture zone, into this empty area. And, this would be the entry area. So we come in, we're blocked from the family room a little bit, not much, the living room a little bit. But I think that's the way to do it. That way also, if you wanted, if you're having the party here, you can leave this door open. And now, you've got sort of a conversation zone. This could be a double casement that would open up as well to create a very large air opening with really just one piece of glass separating you guys from what is otherwise very open air. Let's get to the door here. So I've stuck with the bay window pop-out happening at the kitchen sink, but I've taken that all the way up to the roof. And to be honest, this is the first place I developed the design. This is where I created the motif. And then again, just like I did with the A-frame house I was going on and on about last week, I copied that design and the roof form onto the cooktop wall, and then just modified it slightly to make the cooktop wall work while still allowing and celebrating the amazing view and connection to this mature elm tree. You're gonna be right under that canopy. I'm so excited about this, and it works really well. It works really well as an outdoor cook area as well. Blocking off this ribbon of windows here at the cooktop side allows for there to be a little low cover element for the outdoor kitchen, which I think is cute. It's not necessary, but it's cute. I don't think you need to worry about mechanically ventilating this cooktop. You don't need to incorporate a hood here, but you could if you wanted to. There's so much open air here, I don't even think that would work, would be necessary, so don't worry about that. But lighting, puck lights, heck yeah. Well, we'll put a couple puck lights, maybe 3 in here, to light up your outdoor kitchen area. Your outdoor kitchen now with casement windows, maybe awning windows? We should think about how we want these windows to operate so that you don't have to worry about clearing the countertop on either side to operate the window. Oh look, it'd be really nice if awning windows could be this big. I don't think it can. I think it's too tall to be an awning window without being super special. 5x3 is the standard window size I'm showing around your house. Typically, I know that's fine as a casement. I'll double check awning. Either way though, even if it opened up as an awning, we'd have to clear the countertop area here in order to avoid being struck by elements by elements being in the swing here. if worse came to worse, we could always subdivide this window into a fixed lower panel, and this upper panel could be an awning. Easy peasy. All right. From the inside, I think it's fantastic as well. Celebrating the view of that tree is something I'm so very excited about. I think your landscape architects should be tasked with putting something special right out here at the property line. Something very special to celebrate at the end here. I know you guys have a strong desire for a garden here. I hope some space can be reserved for a special plant, a tree perhaps that would be a very great focal point both for the main house, great room kitchen, as well as the ADU kitchen. I think the ADU kitchen would benefit from seeing something nice in the foreground here as well, although there's a fantastic view of both the elm and the oak tree. This is such a great placement. I'm so very happy with this. Oops, we're underground. We looked at, whether or not the covered porch wants to just connect over to the other roof here, and just to quickly mock that up again, while I think it's certainly possible to do this, to close that off, I would just say, it's a shame not to have even that little bit of light coming in this way. It's not much. I mean, certainly we're not hurting for natural light here. But I'm just not sure what's really gained by closing this in, other than not having to do another screen, which perhaps this doesn't even ever need to be a motorized drop-down screen. This could just be a fixed screen element above this. It could even be a trellis element, a steel growth medium for some vining plants, like maybe a bougainvillea or a jasmine that is shade tolerant. Could grow up and create sort of a green screen element, but that wouldn't work for your bugs. Never mind, scratch that. That's terrible. It's got to be a screen. Just a solid screen for you guys. But it doesn't have to be motorized, if that's a concern. Versus closing this element in here and bringing this wall element, more or less taking this element to the wall in order for there to be something for that screen to die against. And you can get rid of this element, get rid of the plants. You could fill this in, so this could still be an area where you have a bit of cabinetry at the end. That houses elements for outdoor dining. This would be a great place for that. But that's what the intent was with that other narrow element that I had here. This element here. That was the intent there. So that could still persist in this design. I don't know, maybe this is okay. Then for these windows here, for this bedroom, maybe what we do is we just say, hey, we're not going to center the windows on the wall. We're going to bias them all the way over here to be in line with the door, so that if this room is ever empty and becomes a space or the door's ever open, coming through the hall, looking through this door into the bedroom, out this window would be really nice. You'll see through all these windows, of course. But I think if we take this element to the wall, we're going to lose a window. That's okay. This is the door to this bedroom's bathroom, so we don't really want to necessarily rotate the bed. I don't want the bed to be on this wall, for example. Certainly it's a nicer view from bed, but I feel like that's the wrong way to enter a room against the side of a bed there. That's just my personal opinion though. I do feel like this wants to be the bed wall. And then does it feel a little odd where these windows are placed? Maybe we try to maintain one centered in the room, another one flanking it. I don't know. It's my personal opinion. It's better to go with the open air space there. To let this be open air. Let these two roofs collide as they will, let their gutters interact here. Keep this as just a simple shed roof with its one gutter at the end here, and then just close this off with one more drop-down curtain or fixed screen, and let these two just be the roll-up kind. One thing worth noting here, looking at this with fresh eyes, I wanted to stretch this shed dormer out to be a little bit larger so that it was meeting this line as well, rather than just being this minimal 3-window element. But I think it might relate better to the doors here. Remember I've stretched these up now from 8 feet up to 10 feet. I don't know. I'm not quite convinced I've got this finalized yet. I want to study this shed a little bit more, how this window array relates to this door. They are in separate planes. You know, the wall for the doors is inset from the wall of this shed by about 18 inches. So they don't have to be exactly the same, but I don't know. Looking at this with fresh eyes again, I think like we probably want to see this one go on and make these remaining 3 relate centered to that. You know, we should then shrink this element up. Excuse me, bear with me. Oh no, am I lost? No, okay. We should shrink this element up by an equivalent amount. Certainly not that much though. Say something like that, okay. Some fixing needs to be done, but I think that's probably better. I can live with that. You know, this shed dormer on this side is not strictly necessary. We could omit this element. And just keep this closed. That might be simpler, all things considered. But I did want to at least start and try by having it be a bit more symmetrical when we first enter that room. And I think looking up and seeing the 3 windows spaced related to the 3 pocket doors that'll slide over into this pocket here. And then when you went and seeing the 3 skylights right there, which are not cutting through that topmost roof plane yet, and looking back and seeing the same 3 here, and you know, maybe the fireplace now takes on a relationship with this leftmost window. I could see that starting to make sense. And it even gives the TV now, this all has to stretch over, but this gives the TV now a little bit more flexibility maybe, or freedom to scoot over a bit, to maybe be on an edge. I don't know, it still wants to be centered on the furniture. In fact, I should probably show that as such right now. Oh my, how much stuff do I have to go through right now? Bear with me, here we go. I don't know. Might have to look at how the TV and the fireplace relate to this shed dormer above. That might be a dictating element. We'll have to see. Tell you what, I'm going to undo that change just so you can see the cleaner version with the 4 for now. So let's go back to where we were. This will be the version that I'll share with you that you can take a look at. So here's the master bedroom here. Super happy with this. Tons of light, great views when you come in through the master vestibule. Oops, so the door's open. There we go. I'm really quite happy with this. We could make some minor adjustments, of course. Like I talked about, maybe we don't need both sets of doors here. That might be a bit too much. Maybe we do want to change one set to be just windows raised above dresser height. I'd certainly be okay with that. Although I do envision dressers could fit here nicely. One thing I hinted at before was the view at the end of the hallway when we're looking at the tub. If we looked with the original plan, had the door, the pocket door, right here, looking right on the tub. So if we were to mock that up, it'd be more or less something like this. This isn't perfect, but we would see something like that from the end of the hallway. And I don't know about you, but I can't recommend that to you without you telling me that that's really something that you're just really A-okay with, is seeing your tub. And I love seeing the window, but I wouldn't want to see the tub when this door into your master vestibule is in the open position. Now, if we get rid of that opening, or again, if we shift it over, like I'm doing here, now we can put a large mirror, perhaps a little console table under that mirror or artwork on this wall. This room being lit by a skylight above, I think also will just be a nicer end cap than seeing that tub. So let me know what you think about that. If we did want to make that change, we would come in here, see this beautiful mirror, artwork, small table here, lit by a skylight above, and when you come in, we would hang a left, and this would be closed off as a closet, or you would just enter into the closet area that adjoins the master bathroom. So it wouldn't necessarily have to be a closed off closet. It could be an open air closet, but at least it's screened from view a little bit from the bed. Or it could be some nice cabinetry if your budget allows. We should talk about this a bit more. But then when you come in, still there'd be nice cabinetry here, vanity here, the tub now. I mean, once we come in and it's a private view, I think this is fantastic. I love having the tub here. Don't get me wrong, I think this is such a very great spot to take a bath and, rest your head back here and look up at that beautiful oak. So this is totally worth keeping, so long as I can make your master closet work to your tastes and preferences. So let's talk about that. There'd be another vanity. Excuse me. The other vanity would go along right here. All right, but getting back to the exterior, this bedroom wing is pretty simple. We've got a couple chimneys here that are really acting more as fireplace vents, not fireplace vents, sorry, plumbing vents. Plumbing vents for your bathrooms and your laundry room. All those plumbing fixtures each have to have a roof penetration. I know it was mentioned trying to route them to the back. I think that's a fantastic idea, but in case that doesn't work, it'd be great to encapsulate them in a fireplace just directly above where the fixtures are, perhaps. It adds a little bit more interest to the elevation and the front perspective view. But of course, there's a cost for these. If you're paying that cost, do you want to move it to the back? Where it's less visible, perhaps? I don't know. That's a finer detail that we can work on together. And I changed the color scheme a little bit again. I was showing the more of a blue tone. Now I'm showing a little bit more green, including going with a greenish color roof. That's not my go-to color. I usually go more of a black, but I think for your neighborhood and the images you've shared, I think this might just suit your color palette. So I'm really curious to hear what you think of this scheme, guys. I'll send you a PDF with some static images as well for you to review. I can't wait to hear your feedback at our next scheduled meeting. Thank you, guys.